born an athlete, you'll die an athlete. It's in your DNA.
You're an athlete. Live like an athlete so that you can be successful in life.
You're an athlete. Live like it.
ANA, America needs athletes.
It's into the gym closet for another episode. We have Amber, as usual, back at it.
Back at it, guys. I'm back.
Pregnant and
Uncomfortable as all get out.
still coaching this morning.
Still
Coach.
coaching. It's actually, you know what I've noticed? It feels better when I'm up on my feet, like moving around coaching instead of sitting. Like when I sit, it's just like uncomfortable. So it's probably a good thing that I'm just staying up and active.
So you're up.
Demonstrating moves is a whole nother, like everyone in the session just laughs. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to demonstrate this. They're all going to laugh at me. So I do it and then they all laugh. And I'm like, that's pretty good for being pregnant.
So we're about, what, 3 weeks, 4 weeks to go here?
So I could get induced in 3 weeks, but I don't know if we're there yet. I think we're just going to wait till possible.
Why is that?
Because shit's going to hit the fan.
You're scared to have 3 little munchkins.
I'm scared to have 3. And for some reason, I didn't think about this until we're like 3 weeks away or 4 weeks away.
Yep.
And you're like, oh. I mean, you always do, but like it hits you. Like you're like, this is real.
It's definitely real.
So I was a little bit nervous. So I'm like, well, right now we kind of have control of our lives in this sense.
Well, we're also at spring break, and Zach is on spring break, and we have
all
several
the coaches took
on
spring break.
So this week is a huge shout out to Jake. He's Jake and then Misha as well, but those
and
two
Dan.
are the only. Dan, our new coach over at Waukee.
Yep.
So we have 3 coaches for both locations. So we're rolling this week.
Yeah, it's been good though.
But yeah, huge shout out to all the coaches.
Stepping up and filling in.
Yep, and doing a good job. So it's a busy week this week, but next week gets kind of back to normal, and we should be able to rock and roll.
Shout out to Grandma for taking the kids out to the farm.
Yes,
because that helps a lot.
They're spending the spring break
next couple
at the
nights
farm,
there,
so.
yeah. So.
But that's a quick intro to our lives right now. But if you are new to joining the Gym Closet, we are a Crave Gym podcast talking about ways to live like an athlete, why we live like an athlete. And today, our word of the week kind of gets into a cool kind of epiphany that I had with the word athlete and kind of our definition of athlete and what we mean when we say everything that we do, live like an athlete, train like an athlete, and inside and outside of the gym. And so we'll kind of get into that later. But if this is your first time joining us, thank you. Tell a friend. And if you get any information out of this that is helpful, make sure to share that information with some friends. So we don't have much going on today other than our word of the week. We're in the middle of our strength season, so that's going really well. We'll have our crave. Do you want to get into our craving this week?
Yeah, I mean, we can start wherever. But.
Let's get into our craving. So our craving this week is going to be, remember we dropped down to 2 different things. So we will have our craving is a choice between your strength or your conditioning. And so we're in strength season, so I'm hoping to see all the strength out there, but we'll see.
Okay, but we can't base your vote on what season it is, though.
Strictly, what's your favorite, like strength or conditioning?
Yeah. So don't put any pressure on them to be like a strength season. You better say strength, because I'm just really curious to see if people actually like conditioning. Some people do. Some people.
And that's crazy to me.
I know. I think back in the day, I probably would have picked conditioning.
When's back in the day?
Like college days, because I just hated the weight room and didn't know why.
So tell us a little bit about that story. So one of the reasons that you kind of coach at the end of the day was because of your experience in college and almost regret, right?
Oh, regret my attitude towards strength training and strength and conditioning in college. 100%.
Yeah.
It pisses me off because like when I would play like rec league volleyball here, like when we moved here and stuff, I mean, I'm just so much stronger now.
Yeah.
Like I used to be a setter in high school. And so like for me in college, I was liberos, but I didn't have to set. I still jumped in and set sometimes because I could.
Yeah.
But like for me to push the ball outside to the outside hitter, like it took all my strength to do it. And then like even serving. Like I have more power behind my serves now than I did back then because I'm stronger.
So as an All-American,
and like you just think
in
about
college,
your vertical, your just all that stuff. Like I was pretty good, but like how much better I could have been if I would have taken that stuff seriously.
Sure.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I just thought, we always looked at the football players and we're like, why do they want us to train like football players? Like, that's not our goal. We don't want to get big and bulky and all the things that you think when.
So back then you didn't know that training like an athlete was going to be that beneficial to you.
Right, 100%.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's interesting because I
thought the weights were making me bulky, not the alcohol I was drinking on every night was,
That was probably that was probably the culprit.
Yep, I thought it was the weights.
Yeah.
Not the six-pack of Busch Keystone Light probably at that time that I'd crushed.
Yeah, I wonder if if people correlate that with like, oh, there's a couple changes in my life. I went to college, I started lifting, and then I started gaining a bunch of weight. Well, was it the lifting that gained a bunch of weight, or was it your college experience?
Bomb burritos at midnight. Yep. No, I do. I regret it. I think things are better nowadays as far as strength and conditioning programs go and stuff. And there's just, more education and stuff out there. But yeah, I wish I would have taken that a lot more serious, but I'm taking it more serious now and it's paying off in other areas of my life. So
definitely.
I mean,
that's why we train like athletes.
You just wish you were more educated then. Yep.
So take a look at all of our social media. We will have that vote up with comments. Those comments were fun with the bang.
Were you able to pull them up and look at them?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So we didn't touch on it too much because we had an interview last week with Habitat for Humanity, and then the week prior to that, Jake and Zach were in here. Yeah. So we talked about that a little bit when they were in here. So
which is good because it's like your Monster and their Bang. So
yep, they were Team Bang. So but yeah, Monster lost narrowly. So now we're going to be getting into strength or conditioning. So make sure to vote this week and make sure to grab
and just
leave a comment as well.
Conditioning means all the other aspects that aren't strength part of our program. So your endurance, agility, and striking. So those would be part of that conditioning component, and then you have the strength component, just so you guys know. So it's not just the treads or endurance, okay? It's that entire portion of the conditioning.
Or it's whatever it means to you.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't train at Crave and you have a sense of what conditioning is, just hit conditioning. Yeah. If you like doing that, hit conditioning and tell us why or what your opinion of conditioning is, and because I'm interested to see what that word means to people too.
Right. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. But today, the reason that I'm super excited today because I was doing some research on the word of the week, and the word of the week is greatness. And kind of I was thinking what it takes to be great, and I saw the quote by Matt Campbell. He's the coach at Iowa State, and the quote was, "Greatness isn't just for the chosen few, but greatness is for those who choose to be different and demand to become the best version of themselves." So I saw that quote a couple of times in the last couple of weeks, and so that's why kind of I felt I picked greatness as the word of the week, but. As I started doing research and kind of coming up with a definition and trying to wrap my head around what greatness is and what it means to be great, I found an article by Vanessa Van Edwards, which she's like a human behavioral scientist kind of thing, and so she has like setting goals and greatness tips and all this kind of stuff down to like a science. And so she's kind of put it into words, which was pretty cool. So I'm reading through her article, and as I'm reading through all of these like tips to be great and what it means to be great, everything you could replace great with athlete in our mind in literally everything that we do. So today's word of the week is greatness / athlete. And so when we say be an athlete, live like an athlete, what we're really saying, and I couldn't have really put this into words before today, but what we're really saying is be great, live your life great, and that's going to be, what brings the success. And so as I'm looking through this, it kind of got me into a bunch of other words that will be in the next kind of 8 weeks of the word of the week. But there were a bunch of different things, you know, goal setting, creating a vision for your greatness, what it's going to take. First of all, what being great is to you. That's kind of your goals, right? Your vision to how you want to live your life. Number 2 is turning adversity into advantage, taking the excuses, taking the things that happen to you, and in order to be great, you know, taking the angle of this happened to me. How am I gonna respond to this, and how am I going to come out of this situation as an advantage versus being adverse and deciding to, you know, oh, this ruined me, and you know, the victim mentality that is the disadvantage, right? And then cultivate a champion's mindset. Again, that goes so much with being an athlete and being great, and having that mindset of that confidence in yourself to be able to do the things that you want to do. A lot of what people don't accomplish is because of fear. So that first step isn't even taken because they're scared of maybe they're scared they're not going to be good at what they're wanting to do. Maybe they're scared of that failure, so they don't even start. So that's kind of the cultivating that championship mind, or that champion's mindset. Developing hustle. So this one I really like, and hustle will be one, but in order to be great, in order to be an athlete, you have to do things that other people won't do or other people find uncomfortable, and get comfortable doing that shit. Like if you're an athlete, you're used to, you know, getting up and training when other people weren't. You're used to doing the extra stuff to keep up in school when other people weren't. You know, and that's that athlete mindset that we want to continue. And so developing the hustle is a cool way to look at it, because what that is that's just the ability as an adult, you know, as we're growing up out of sports now, is what we're kind of talking about, as still living like an athlete, and still living great and achieving greatness, is developing those things that are doing those things that other people won't do. And that's what's going to set you above and beyond. And that's one of the definitions of greatness. That's one of the definitions of being an athlete. Master your body. So this one is kind of self-explanatory. Getting into the physical side of being an athlete is the same as getting into the physical side of being great. You know, train your body, eat right, you know, pay attention to your nutrition, and train how athletes train. So that's kind of the you know, kind of where we start as a gym, is training like an athlete. You know what I mean? And so that's one, mastering your body, practicing positive habits. So this is kind of the hustle turns into habits. So the cool thing that she had kind of talked about in this article was that there is making decisions on a daily basis is difficult. So if you have to make 100 decisions in a day, that's very, very hard. But what you can do is take that hustle, take those things that you've done, turn them into habits. So it's not a decision. Waking up at a certain time when your alarm goes off, that's not a decision, that's just a habit. So you pop up out of bed, going to eat breakfast, and eat a good breakfast. You know, if you're not running late for work, you can make a breakfast. If you woke up early, you can make a breakfast versus, you know, driving by the donut shop, grabbing a donut. You know, those type of things, you can make a habit, so you don't have to make the decision of, shit, what am I going to eat today? Maybe you prepped your meals, so that's a habit that you get into, or even just prepping your protein. Like that's mostly what we do, is prep whatever protein. So we have a bunch of chicken, a bunch of turkey burger, a bunch of something that we can turn into something really easily. So that limits that decision for us. And so that's kind of the practice positive habits, is make things a habit. You know, make it a habit to exercise. You know, make it so you don't have to make the decision to say, oh, am I going to figure out what I'm going to do for my exercise today? Make it a habit. Get into a program. Get into Crave so that you know what you're doing that day, because we have a plan scheduled out for you every single day, every single week, every single month, every single season, the whole year round. So that's kind of the practice positive habits to be great. Tip number 7 is build a winning team. So again, as I'm reading through this, it's so cool because this is kind of putting into words everything that we do as athletes is our team, right? So we're a great team. We come together in the gym. We go outside of the gym to help everything. And that kind of goes into the next one we'll talk about. But your team, the people you surround yourself with is your team. And so make that great. You know, a lot of times you can't control that at work, but if you can, if you can build that team and build that team up and encourage and be a leader of your team at work, then that team can be better rather than being the stick in the mud.
And I think that's surrounding yourself with the people that you want to surround yourself with.
Oh,
being
definitely.
a part of that team, or your peers and stuff like that that lift you up and inspire you and
definitely
bring you down.
And that's what's awesome. Like, we're lucky because it happens naturally. We own Crave. We coach at Crave. So like, we're naturally surrounded by all of these positive athletes that work hard to get better physically, that train hard, that do all these different things. And so we're naturally in that environment. A lot of people aren't. So find, if you're not at Crave, find a gym, that has that positive atmosphere, that has people that you can surround yourself with, and make sure that team that you're creating is a positive one in life. And that's something that's going to be attributing to greatness or attributing to living like an athlete. And then the last one, and it's amazing to me how much this fits in with exactly what we do. And now why we do it is kind of an easier to put into words because of what she wrote. But the last one is live a life of service. And so that's exactly why we have our power partners, is because living like athletes doesn't mean that we selfishly have success ourselves. It means that we can have success ourselves, but spreading that and helping our community and doing our due diligence to make sure that we are getting out and helping others. That's what ultimately is going to make you happy, like we talked about last week, but that helps in your success. So like a lot of people, I read another saying from somewhere else while I'm doing some of this research, and they were talking about how you can be successful in a selfish way, and you can do what you want to do for all the money in the world for yourself, to do whatever makes you happy in the moment and be selfish about it. But long term, like, you can get to the level of success with that mentality, but your long-term happiness, what you stand for and what your emotional fortitude and what makes you a whole human being is, there's something missing if you continue that selfishness and not going out and helping others and living that life of service and getting into, and that's one of the reasons why we allow our athletes, we kind of organize in our Power Partner program. If you don't know, we organize different things in our community. We have 6 different seasons. So we have 6 different Power Partners, 6 different organizations that we work with that help the community, that we can allow our athletes an easier path to get to where they need to go to help, live that life of service. And so I was super excited as I kind of go through all of this stuff. And I'm just looking for greatness. Like, give me, a couple ideas of some PowerPoints to, some bullet points to describe how to be great and how to live for greatness and how to achieve greatness. And everything that I kept finding was greatness is the definition of athlete. Like, that's the word that equates with what we do and why we live like athletes. Athletes equals greatness. Greatness equals athletes. And so that was really cool to have that kind of moment where everything I looked at was the definition. If I replaced greatness, everything I looked at, all the tips to be great are our tips to be an athlete, to live like an athlete. And so we obviously have our own language and what we believe an athlete is about, and what the definition of athlete is more than just, being adequate at a sport or physical activity. That's the definition of athlete when it comes to the dictionary. But being an athlete and living like an athlete and training like an athlete means so much more. And so the equivalent to greatness is kind of what I was finding as athlete. So the word of the week this week is greatness, but greatness equals athlete. an athlete equals greatness. So it was kind of a cool overarching theme, as I was trying to form what we're going to talk about as far as this word of the week. So,
It's going to be hard to top that.
What's that?
It's going to be hard to top that word now.
Well, now we're going to have to, we're just going to have to dive into individual, there's different tips and different ways to be great, right? So this is kind of our overarching word. I think every word that we've ever done falls under this.
It's funny because I was just going to say that when you were explaining different parts of it, you've said a word that we've used in the past, and I'm like, it just all ties into
and so
this word.
It's really cool because that all of the words that we've been talking about, and it's funny because I was talking to Jake, I was like, the English language is huge, right? I was going to do a year worth of words of the week, right? So how many? 56, 52 weeks in a year, whatever it is. But so I was going to use that many words. I'm like, you would think that it's easy to think of 50 something words.
Right.
It's not. We're stuck on, I think we're on 23 right now, and we're stuck. And so I was like, so that's when, and greatness I had in the hopper, but greatness sat around for 3 weeks as I was trying to figure out how to harness greatness. And it seems like greatness is harnessed in athlete, and it's harnessed as kind of the overarching theme of all of our word of the week. And so all of our words of the week are now going to kind of filter through to let all of our athletes achieve greatness and live like athletes is because they're synonyms, is what we've kind of figured out. So that's kind of cool.
That's a good word. I like it.
Yeah. So we'll have, we'll kind of be bringing everything back to greatness, I think, for the entire word of the week. And that's going to be kind of the top word of the week. And everything else will fall under that kind of category. So we have a couple things that we're going to end with. Let's, while we're on the topic, we have a new program coming out.
Yes, super excited about this. So a lot of people are interested in nutrition. They want just to learn more and see if, we follow if it fits your macros type program here. So we don't restrict anybody on their, you have to eat a chicken broccoli diet. What we do is we say you get a certain amount of macros, certain amount of carbs, fats, and proteins. And we help you find the right foods that fit within those macros. And so I know it sounds kind of complex for a lot of people. Some people don't want to make the 8-week commitment to see if it's something that would work for them or that they like. So Zach, Tyler, and I have been talking about, what can we provide people that still gives them an intro into macros, but is not a big commitment. And then after that, if you decide that it is something for you, you can keep progressing and meet with a coach weekly. So we've decided to do a 28-day summer shred online nutrition program. So what it's going to be is it's going to be 4 weeks. We're going to meet every Sunday night via Zoom and talk about macros. So every week we're going to break down specifics of, that first week, what are macros, why we need protein, why we need fat, why we need carbs. It's going to be a very interactive group. And so every Sunday we'll be meeting. The cost is $40 for the 4 weeks or the 28 days. And then after that, if you decide that you want to keep moving forward with it, we'll give you specifics on your macros, and then you'll meet with the coach every week that will help you determine, are your macros set at a good number for your body type, or do we need to adjust based off of, the progress we're seeing.
Goals, yeah. So basically, the nutrition that we do right now, like she said, is our flexible nutrition with a coach. You meet every week, whether that's we have online options or we have in-person options. So basically, you meet with your coach every single week. We analyze the previous week and we say, as a coach, great job here. What do we need to work on here? And we make goals for the next week. And we adjust anything that needs to be adjusted in your nutrition in that macro plan. So with that, you're gonna get, like she said, basically a quick download of everything that we educate our athletes on in the first 4 weeks. And then if you want to pull the trigger and meet one-on-one with coach and move forward with your specific stuff, we'll give you the equations and we'll give you all this stuff in that in that summer shred program. So you'll be able to calculate all your own stuff. You'll be able to, we'll have tips and ways to get to what they are. We'll have definitions and let you know exactly what those macros mean, exactly what macros even means, and what protein, fat, and carbs are, how to kind of hit those. We'll have those tools for you in that program. But the other thing that comes along with that is accountability. Mm-hmm. And so that accountability comes after with a coach being able to check up on you. And so we have that program available as well. But the online course is going to be awesome. We have it up at craveathlete.com, and it's basically like an item. So you can scroll through all of our gear if you want, but it's in there as a product that you purchase. Yeah. When you do that, put your email in, you'll get an intro email from us, and you'll get a link to that weekly Zoom call. We'll be going for 4 weeks on those dates.
So that starts March 28th.
Yep.
So whoever signs up for it, you'll be getting an email next week about all the details, and then the link to the Zoom meetings that we will be having every Sunday.
Yep. So for 4 Sundays in a row, we'll be getting into the mix with macros and answering questions. And I'd like it to be, we'll have kind of a lesson, and we'll have what we want, but I also want it to be interactive. So mm-hmm. We'll also have answering questions and different things that pertain to the topics that we're talking about that day.
Yeah. So. There will be a Q&A at the end. Always, we will be recording them as well. So if you guys can't make it live, we will send the recordings out to your email addresses, so you can pop on there and make sure that you're not missing any information. So.
Yep. Awesome.
Yeah, it should be fun. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome because there's so much to go over when it comes to our nutrition education, and you get that as soon as you get into our nutrition program. But like you said, a lot of people have that commitment issue where they're like, well, I don't know if it's for me. Maybe I want to learn more about it. But the cool thing about just purchasing the nutrition with a coach one-on-one is that you learn all of those things on a specific level to you mm-hmm. as an individual, because there are a lot of different factors that come into play, that your macros are going to be different than mine, right. and mine are going to be different than Zach's, and mm-hmm. so forth. So having that knowledge, we're going to drop that knowledge on how to find that for your individual self. But having a coach do it is always nice too.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. So that is up and available. So if you would like to purchase those, our course, which is kind of what we're calling it, our summer shred, 28-day summer shred online course.
Nutrition course.
Missed
a word.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's online.
It's online. We'll post links. Go to craveathlete.com and you'll find it there.
Yep. So that's available. And do you want to finish up with some couch potato?
I mean, we can.
You were kind of pumped about the couch potato, I thought.
I am, but okay. So it's The Bachelor. We're coming back. This is the last episode, so we're done with The Bachelor after this, probably.
God.
Oh, quit it. Last night you're like, you get to watch this all by yourself with no kids? I'm like, yeah. And you were kind of excited.
I'm pumped for you to actually
sit and
watch to relax and do something.
So it was kind of nice. It was weird because I got home, I didn't have to leave the gym at a certain time. And then I went and got Chinese, and then went home and sat on the chair, and I just hit play, and I'm like, wow, this is
because most of the time, so most of the time one of us is at least at work until 7 usually.
Yeah, 7. And bedtime we moved to 7:30 now. So now it's
so we're always trying to get home as fast as we can to try to put the kids to bed.
Play with them for a little bit.
We hate missing bedtime,
Yeah.
So one of us is always bouncing back and forth, or we have some nights where both of us are at the gyms, and then we have a
grandma's
sitter,
at home,
or grandma's usually the one that is taking care of the kids. Then but then I always feel bad, and I'm like, shoot, I have to rush home so that she can get home. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we're always kind of trying to rush home, and then when you get home, you play with the kids, you put the kids down, and then it's 8:00, and you're like,
you're ready to eat. Yeah. Then one of us eats.
And then one of us, we got to eat dinner, and that's what another crazy thing. It's a little different in our lives. Is we eat dinner at 8 p.m.
Which doesn't matter as long as you're over your macros.
Right.
And you can eat at whatever time you want.
Exactly.
But no, so then last night I got home and I was eating, Chinese just sitting on the chair. I'm like, holy cow. Then you walk home or you come in the door and you're like, you can actually just sit and eat and watch your show. I'm like, yeah,
right.
I can. But then I kind of miss them. And I'm like, nope, I don't. I don't miss the kids. So
One night away is fine.
But yeah, it was kind of nice. But anyways, we had The Bachelor on, and it was the final or the last one. So I liked both the ladies that he had picked. Rachel was always my front runner. Like at the very beginning, I always like pick women that I like, and I think she has a good heart. And so obviously Rachel won, but I'm sure a couple weeks ago you guys heard stuff come out about pictures that were posted online, and you made a good point last night. You're like, I wonder if that's why the pictures came out, because she made it so far.
Because she won, yeah.
Because she won. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't have.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's true. So I'm
But
glad
you
I don't
liked
read
it.
into that stuff because I don't like spoil alerts.
But you liked it because of the ending.
I did like the ending. So my biggest question was always, why, during this show, why do people have to get engaged? Like, you know each other for what? Maybe, I don't even know, 6, 8,
3
3,
weeks?
I don't know. Like,
A total of like 1
but
hour?
you don't even see each other every day, right?
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
You probably
so
talked to
it's
each other
like-
for like
Yeah.
2 hours.
Right.
Maybe?
So my biggest thing has been, why do people always feel like they have to pick a ring and get engaged? So I loved how it ended last night on how he was like, I don't want to get engaged. I don't want the commitment. You know, I love somebody, but I want to see what life's like out of this reality TV.
Bubble.
Yeah. So I love that part of it. And then obviously they're broken up now because of the stuff that the bad decisions and stuff that she had made in her past. That, you know, T thinks she needs to work through and all that stuff. And so I don't know. I liked it. It was a good way to end The Bachelor.
But you were,
Because every
like,
time
you were
I'm
almost cheering. You were like, oh, I don't think he's going to propose. I don't think he's going to do it.
Yes.
Yeah, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Stay with each other, but just don't be married. Yeah.
I was pumped. And I didn't
That's
even
awesome.
know if that was like, because remember when he was talking to Chris Harrison, I didn't even know if they could do that, I guess. If you can choose not to get engaged, or if there's some commitment that they have to sign that says, yes, I will propose. So I don't think that there is now that happened. I mean, but at what point is Chris Harrison like, you can't force somebody to do something?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. So.
And that's why they're probably not together, is because they spent 25 minutes together.
Yeah.
And so how much can you know about people in 25 minutes where you're getting to know them?
I don't know. So
I've
it'll be
spent-
back on in the summer.
I've spent how long? 9 years married to you. Barely know you.
It's true.
But no, so The Bachelor was your couch potato?
That was my couch potato. Now it's over. Now I'm going to find a different one.
Yeah. Need an update on couch potato. So I had a new couch potato that I haven't watched yet, that I'm going to watch maybe tonight when we get home and there's no kids. But it is a new documentary about the GameStop deal.
Oh, I'd like
Did you
to
see
watch
that?
that. No, but that would be, I love
So
documentaries.
I started it this morning.
Okay.
I had 5 minutes to turn the TV on this morning while I ate, but I saw it this morning, so I turned it on anyway. But for those who don't know, the GameStop stock in the stock exchange is big in the news in the last several months, and made a lot of people money, made a lot of people mad. But there's a documentary kind of explaining the entire situation, and I was kind of in on the situation where I didn't buy any stock, but I was really aware of it because it was one that I followed, just being a retail trader with no money on the Robinhood app. Like, it was fun to be able to kind of see how crazy it went and how many like $1 million these $1 billion hedge funds started losing money because they tried to short it, and it's a big thing. So recommend watching that, because in reality, I don't know, I guess, how well it's reported in this documentary.
Well, that's
but
crazy. I was just going to say, I feel like it just happened.
It
So
did.
how can they
It was
have
just
a
a couple
documentary so fast?
Because
Like,
as soon as it happened, I'll guarantee you, I think it's a CBS thing, I guarantee you that they were like, we need to start interviewing people so that we can be the first ones to release GameStop.
That's nuts.
You know,
Because that was
documentary.
fast, right?
But
Because some of those documentaries, I mean, you don't see them for 7
but
months
this is
to a year.
right. But I
or-
think that the other thing too is, I think that this is kind of, I mean, it's big news in the fact that like the small guy can influence the stock market like it did, but it's also, and it shows you kind of the power of the internet and the influence of the internet, but it's also going to be long. The news cycle is so fast that this GameStop is going to be, in 6 months, it's going to be, no one's going to even know.
Yeah.
No one's going to talk about it. It's not going to be popular. So I feel like they had to get it out right away, and if not, nobody was gonna watch it. Nobody cared anymore.
Well,
so.
This is just kind of random, but that is it Firefest?
Firefest, yeah.
That was that's the first documentary I watched, and I was like,
so when was that? That was a couple years ago now.
I don't know, but that's the first one you got me into, and I was like, this
one
is
of my
insanity.
One of my favorite podcasts has a segment called Firefest now, which is just like it's something that is like a slight inconvenience or annoying to them in their life at that time. Yeah. So they have the Firefest segment that is funny, but yeah, but it's been going on. I mean, it had to be only a couple years ago now.
Crazy. I don't know. People are so, I don't know. It's a crazy world we live in.
Definitely. But thank you for joining us. And remember, you're an athlete. Live like it.
Bye, guys.
Born an athlete, you'll die an athlete. It's in your DNA.
Live like an athlete so that you can be successful in life.
You're an athlete. Live like it.
ANA, America needs athletes.